Okay, I know this seems like a really weird topic to make an entire video about, but hear me out. I've been making multiple hour-long video essays for like weeks now, and I was about to dive into another FNAF-related one immediately after hitting publish on my last video. But to be honest, the idea I had for that video is really overambitious, and I've bitten off way more than I can chew. So, for now, let's take a break and chew on something else. Get it? Chew? It's funny because today we're going to be talking about food. Specifically, FNAF-related food. For Christmas last year, my boyfriend's family gifted me with this. The official Five Nights at Freddy's cookbook. Ooh la la! Complete with over 40 Freddy's-related recipes that all look pretty stinking good, shown off with beautiful pictures detailing the meals alongside Freddy's iconography. As a humongous Freddy's fanboy and a fan of cooking myself, I was certainly happy to receive such a nice quality gift. So, over the past 3 months or so since I received this book, I've been skimming through it all and trying out some of the recipes. And I've noticed some kind of odd things about the book. Look, FNAF is my main special interest that's rotating around in my autistic brain almost 24 hours a day like a rotisserie chica chicken, and I think way too much about the lore and specifically how the merch fits into the lore of the games. So there were some kind of weird things about this book that grabbed my attention, and I thought it'd be fun to take a break from the long videos and throw together a short little cooking adventure for y'all today. Since we're talking about FNAF again today, I'm sure Bugged and Cat are gonna join us again. They love FNAF. Hello? Cat? Bugged? That's weird. They usually show up right away whenever I have a screen on. Oh, a pop-up ad. Let's take a look. Cat and I will be absent from your video today, ever since the incident. Cat's body doesn't have enough physical form to process food. It gets very upset when it's brought up, so we're sitting this one out. You live another day, but know that we will return to torment your soul soon. Sincerely, Bugged. Huh. One time I kinda wanted them to join me, and I'm graced with being alone and away from those fucking freaks for once. Okay. Anyways, grab your forks, grab your let's eat bibs, and get ready to chica chow down on this book. I mean some food. So first of all, this book has really super nice presentation. I love this nice, sleek, dark cover with the delicious looking pizza and all of the saturated neon, almost blacklighty color highlights with the text and the logos. There's lots of the classic Freddy's checkerboard pattern and other small details that add to the aesthetic. All of the pictures are very nice and crisp and show off the detail and texture of the food beautifully. Just looking through this book and going, oh my god, I want to eat that, holy shit, it's pretty fun. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of cookbooks, but all of the food itself looks appetizing. The book is divided up into sections, themed after specific characters for different types of food. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Bonnie's Burgers and Subs, Chica's Chicken Choices, Foxy's Pork Plates, Glamrock Freddy's Faves and Classic Dishes, Glamrock Chica's Breakfast Best, Roxanne Wolf's Sweet Things, and finally Montgomery Gator Beverages. Pretty nice selection. I enjoyed that they included the OG 4 and the Security Breach main guys, as Security Breach was the most recent game when this book was released. And all of the food generally seems to suit the characters' personalities, Freddy having the main dishes, Chica having the chicken and breakfast dishes, etc. I like the cute little renders of the characters' heads. There's a few more super charming little pages at the beginning showing previews of the food, writing a little Freddy's themed introduction, a page advertising the Pizzaplex, and a really cute page about kitchen safety, including many of the kitchen posters from Security Breach and having funny, ironic, ominous disclaimers clipped in. Then we get to the recipe pages. Each recipe is themed around a character and as such has images associated with that character, as well as a picture of the meal in question. There's a title, short description, and then the ingredients and the recipe are all written out plainly. Pretty standard cookbook affair. Some of these images of the animatronics edited in to look like they're posing with the food are super hilarious out of context. This image of Ballora is me when I see burger. So, on a surface level, it all seems pretty normal, right? It's pretty much what you'd expect out of a Freddy Fazbear themed cookbook. You're probably asking yourself, Sparkell, why on earth are you making a whole video on this? Well, there's sort of a weird undertone to this entire book. Probably similar to the weird, uneasy feeling a parent would get bringing their kid to a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza place. The first odd thing I noticed was the slight mismatch of character renders. Now, most of these renders look fine on their own, and are renders that we've seen before. There are some screenshots from the games, including some FNAF AR models. I know some people dislike FNAF AR since it kind of became money hungry and then just fizzled out and died, but I personally always thought that the models were probably the best thing about it. Even if they're a little shiny looking when the OG animatronics are supposed to have fur and not metal, they, for the most part, look nice. It had a lot of fun detail and a lot of super unique and genuinely cool designs, like, Ringmaster Foxy? What is he doing in this cookbook? He's on a page for a Foxy-related recipe, but it's super weird because he's literally the only alternate AR skin mentioned in the entire book? Wait, actually no, my mistake. They also have a weird render with Broiler Baby instead of Standard Baby. Why not use normal Foxy or Baby? Maybe they didn't want to reuse the normal animatronic for multiple recipes, but they do that for Freddy and Chica, and Baby doesn't even have any other recipes. Also, they could have just used another Foxy variant, like Mangle, Funtime Foxy, Rockstar Foxy. I'm just throwing some suggestions around here. A lot of the art assets are taken from the games like the cardboard cutouts in FNAF Security Breach. There's also this really weird, inaccurate OG Freddy drawing that is very obviously an edit of the Glamrock Freddy logo from Security Breach with an annoying blue ribbon on his hat, even though OG Freddy doesn't have any ribbons on his hat. Odd. However, I also recognize some of these drawings as colored-in versions of art found in the official Five Nights at Freddy's coloring book. In fact, I've colored some of these exact images before. Now, that coloring book is a whole weird-ass rabbit hole. It has some nice art that I genuinely like, but also a lot of the drawings are kind of odd, and they reuse a lot of the same art multiple times throughout the book, which I've always hated in coloring books. It feels lazy. Sometimes the book will put in absolutely random-ass characters on the same page together, even though they have nothing in common. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. I don't think it's a bad thing to reuse art assets across different books for the record. So long as they all look good together, go ahead and use the assets that you got. And I do like most of the art that they have in the coloring book style here. All the Chica ones are super adorable, just thought it was interesting to point out. Now, the weird graphics are one thing, but they don't really bother me in the grand scheme of things. We've had weird out-of-place graphics in FNAF books before, like this Freddy's Guide that uses a fucking Funko Pop for one of its images for no reason at all. Okay, so I think I remembered it wrong, because when I was scrolling through this book to find the Funko Pop image, I failed. But I think what I was thinking of is this image of the cupcake right here. That is not an image from the games. That is a fucking Squish Me from, I believe it's Just Toys, if I'm remembering correctly. FNAF merchandise ranges from amazing to complete garbage, and this is on the lower end of that spectrum. That's a whole topic for another day. Why didn't they just use the image of the actual fucking cupcake? I'm sorry, I'm getting so fucking sidetracked grabbing clips from this fucking book. I'll make this quick. Also, I guess I've never really read this book that well. There's fucking recipes in here! I've made this one in the FNAF cookbook, and it is a separate recipe in this fucking FNAF guide. How crazy is that? This cookbook isn't quite as egregious as that. Besides the weird AR skins, most of it is either just interesting or really nice. Also, this is just a nitpick and a personal issue, and I feel like a lot of people will get mad at me for saying this, but I hate how this book refers to the daycare attendant as Sunny Drop and Moon Drop. Because that's not really their names. People thought that it was their names before Security Breach release because part of the teaser trailers that were revealed, there were those advertisement posters of their candies. But I also remember when Dako interviewed members of Steelwool just before Security Breach's release and he quote-unquote mentioned Moondrop, they kind of corrected him and went, well, I don't know about Moondrop, but the daycare attendant...
Especially the voice of Moondrop. Is it Moondrop?
It's the daycare attendant.
Okay.
You know,
We'll just say that then.
The daycare attendant is generally how they're referred to in-game, with the specific forms being referred to simply as Sun and Moon in the official captions, which I'm willing to trust. I believe Moondrop and Sunnydrop are specifically the names of the candies. However, I do know that in the FazPad, there's a menu with the food item Sundrop Cake, and this cookbook specifically mentions the Sunnydrop brand. So I'm choosing to make my personal headcanon that while the character animatronic himself is just named Sun, Moon, or the daycare attendant, their brands are called Sunnydrop and Moondrop. So it makes sense for the foods to be named after them. Feel free to disagree with my take on that. Maybe I'm wrong about the whole thing and they are called Sunnydrop or Moondrop, but that would be a little inconsistent to how the game first presented itself. Also, I'm sorry in advance, I have to make the joke. You're telling me I can have a taste of the sun's balls? But all of that stuff, the art, the minor inconsistencies in how they refer to one character, all that is little stuff that ultimately doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things. What actually does bother me is this. This cookbook makes absolutely no sense in terms of the game's lore. Now, maybe this is just because I went in assuming, oh, this must be a cookbook that's published in-universe by Fazbear Entertainment. Because some FNAF merch is merch that would exist in-universe. Look at Sanchi's stuff, for example. And to be honest, I think that's a reasonable assumption to make because at first the book does seem like it is produced by Fazbear Entertainment, with it being very official looking, all of the branding and assets being on point, and how so many of the descriptions are trying to portray Freddy's as a fun and innocent place to bring your family to party and dine. Freddy Fazbear is here with a huge helping of delicious dishes to keep your belly seriously stuffed. However, it is very strange if it is supposed to be official by Fazbear Entertainment, because it directly references and openly acknowledges incidents that Fazbear Entertainment wants the public to forget about. Specifically, it makes direct reference to how the animatronics in the Pizzaplex can be violent enemies in many of the games, with how they're described as frightening and such. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sparkle! Fazbear Entertainment used those incidents in a VR game to change the public's opinion into thinking that they were silly ghost stories not to be taken seriously. And you are very correct, that is something that they did. However, it's still a little bit odd to continue to lean into the spooky scariness factor when they were trying to rebrand to seem very family-friendly like they were in Security Breach. It's weird as hell for them to acknowledge the events that take place within Security Breach itself. Okay, quick disclaimer. This cookbook was released before Help Wanted 2, so it makes sense to look at it with the available public information there was about the Freddy franchise before the release of Help Wanted 2. Because if this book was in universe, it would have also probably been released before the release of Help Wanted 2. I still haven't actually played Help Wanted 2. As of recording this video, about like 3 or 4 days ago, I bought myself a PS5, and I'm waiting on a VR2 in the mail. It should arrive sometime in the next week. So, as of now, I haven't played Help Wanted 2. I'm probably going to play it very soon, and honestly, I might even play it before I finish filming this video, so we'll see how the rest of this goes. If I learn new pertinent information, I will probably add some edits later on, and you will see them. To be on the safe side, don't comment any spoilers about Help Wanted 2, please. So, I don't actually know specifically what happens in the game, because I've been completely avoiding all spoilers except for watching the trailers. However, I know there are Security Breach characters in it because of the trailers, though I assume that's just Fazbear Entertainment going, hey, let's use our popular current characters for our horror game sequel. So unless this very specific events that happened in Security Breach are in Help Wanted 2 in a sort of Fazbear Entertainment is trying to cover up the current things happening in their restaurant way, there is no reason for them to specifically mention Vanny, Vanessa, and Gregory. Seriously! Dancing Rabbit Lady, aka Vanny, enjoys skipping and shuffling in pursuit of young Gregory. Why on earth would they acknowledge that? Also saying things like the glam rock animatronics can be frightening, or that the moon isn't helpful or nice when they're trying to convince parents it's okay for the daycare attendant to watch their 5-year-olds. Is Fazbear Entertainment trying to ruin their own reputation? The other example is of Freddy seemingly making an entire recipe based off of one of their random-ass security guards. What? Why? Oh yeah, I forgot that the description of this one makes me cringe really bad. Hold on and let me read it out loud. Security breach meatball sub. Security guard Vanessa keeps a close eye on the Pizzaplex, away from her annoying gaze. Fire up the pan and grill to create a mighty meatball sub to remember. Saucy and scrumptious. That's the dish, by the way, not Vanessa. Why are we using the words saucy and scrumptious to describe a woman? Mind you, this whole time I have only been referring to the official text and descriptions. There are clearly written words on the page that are meant to be in the main book, but something kind of cute and fun that they do is that they have little images and notes taped in, as if a third party is leaving warnings for you. It's kind of like how the security logbook is an official book that Mike has edited and scribbled all over, so his notes are added to that. I think this book would have worked so much better if they kept all the actual warnings and references to danger within these sticky notes, because then it would have added to the cool feel of, oh, there's something dangerous going on and we're being warned about it. But it isn't as fun when the official descriptions of the recipes are directly referencing the danger too. Speaking of the taped-in sticky notes, I have a really juicy tidbit here for y'all. Who do you think is writing these notes? Well, in the images on the official Amazon listing for this cookbook before we bought it, I remember looking through the images and getting excited because OMG, they made a cookbook, and I noticed something interesting. All of the notes were specifically signed off from Gregory, which I actually really liked and I thought was a great idea. Mike is long dead now, and so Gregory's the next best main character who has directly experienced Fazbear-related danger to fill the audience in. It's a cute way to tie it into the game's universe, and also, I just love Gregory. Y'all know he's my favorite FNAF character of all time. However, then the book actually came out, and, as books usually do, they had a few small edits and adjustments from the promo images that were available before the release, which is nothing new. That happens all the time. But the thing about the notes in the official release of the books is that they removed all references to Gregory. But they only removed him signing off his name in the notes. He's still annoyingly mentioned in the Vanny Churro recipe description. I don't know why they did this. Maybe they wanted to make it a more general, ambiguous third party because they were thinking, oh wait, Gregory might not know a lot about Ballora or Baby or OG Bonnie or any of the non-security breach characters that are mentioned here. Which would be a fair point if the FNAF games weren't canon to the universe of FNAF. Remember, Help Wanted confirmed that in the universe of Freddy's, Fazbear Entertainment hired a rogue indie developer to make games about the events that happened here. They jokingly show an image of Scott Cawthon too, so we can assume all prior games to that point exist in-universe. And Gregory is clearly a Freddy's fanatic. He would have definitely at least know about the games and their content, even if he didn't play them himself. Also, since he's such a Freddy's fan, he could easily know some Freddy's lore regarding what their old characters and their restaurants were like. It's all in display in Rockstar Row, after all. The thing is, removing Gregory's name is literally pointless, because the notes make reference to things that are so very ultra-hyper specific to the situation he was in, that there's no way in hell that anyone but him is writing these notes. They changed the pronouns in this note from, I use the Monty Gator mystery mix, to a general, it can be used to lure Chica away, but simply changing the first person pronouns and removing the name sign-off doesn't change the fact that no other person in existence would write a note like, hitching a ride in Freddy's belly compartment has been a real lifesaver. There's not a single fucking person that could have written that but Gregory, since he's the only one small enough to fit in Freddy's tummy, but also Freddy's surprised when he first does it, meaning Freddy probably has not had any other child do that before. They also changed his handwriting to be less shitty and childish, which I get it from a standpoint of, we want our book to actually be legible, but I think the old handwriting was super cute and more charming than the basic handwriting in the new version. I'm gonna headcanon that that's how Gregory's handwriting actually looks like. I would have enjoyed this cookbook way more if they really stuck with the theme of it being an official cookbook in-universe that would have been released by Fazbear Entertainment. But I have to accept that when Scholastic published this, they probably weren't caring too much about how well it fits into the intricacies of the lore or didn't even notice the inconsistencies. At the end of the day, it's weird, strange, and confusing. But I also think it's fun and enjoyable at the same time. I complained about it a lot, but you can still like things that have flaws. As it is, it's a cookbook very themed around Freddy Fazbear that I think any fan would love, and all the descriptions and stuff are tailored to be enjoyed by Freddy's fans with all the references. And hey, the recipes are pretty decent. Now, I haven't tried all of the recipes in this cookbook, of course. I've only owned it for a few months and there are over 40 of them, so I'd have to be some kind of cooking god in order to cook that many meals that fast. But I will just quickly go over all the meals I've made before the start of this video and describe how it all went. Pizzaplex Master Dough. This dough is obviously used to make the pizza, but it's also used as a dough base in other recipes in the book that aren't pizza. We'll cover a few of them in a moment. This makes 4 dough balls, with each ball being enough dough to make a small pizza. This dough is pretty okay. I think it would definitely be improved with some spices, maybe Italian seasoning, oregano, thyme, something to add that pizza-y taste. But as is, it's a little bland. But I do understand that it has to be plain to work for the non-pizza recipes that the dough is also used in. Maybe just add the spices to the dough balls used specifically for the pizza and you'd be golden. Speaking of golden, I really wish that when I baked this, it became more crispy and golden. Maybe I need to cook it for longer or roll it out thinner, but as it is, it's fine. Acceptable dough. I didn't make any of the pizzas in the book because I'm picky and I have food sensory issues, so I don't like those toppings, but I threw some cheese in the sauce over top of it and it came out pretty nice. We had Freddy's Pizza on my birthday, alongside some other Freddy's food we'll get into in a moment as well, and this giant Glamrock Freddy cake I made out of store-bought cake mix because this book doesn't have a cake recipe in it? What? I can't have an official Fazbear birthday cake? Are you shitting me? The closest they have is a cupcake recipe. Am I supposed to pour cupcake batter into a cake pan and just hope for the best? Easy Plex Pizza Sauce. Homemade sauce to go on your pizzas. This is pretty good and fun and easy to make. I've never made homemade pizza sauce before, and it's nice to have everything on your pizza homemade rather than just buying it in a can from the store. I will say that mine did not turn out like the sauce in the picture and was a lot more watery. They say to add the chopped tomatoes by straining them with a sieve and pressing them through a mesh on the back of your spoon. So I did that as much as I could, and then I threw away the excess that wouldn't mash through the mesh. But if you wanted more substance to your sauce, I'd recommend adding those bits that won't go through your strainer, maybe. I think it would help, because mine was very overly watery and liquidy. Overall, tasty and good. Freddy's Garlicky Twirls and Spicy Dip. Bread rolls using the Pizzaplex dough base with sauce, cheeses, spices, and garlic baked in between. These actually reminded me of something I made a few months back. This is gonna sound like a weird tangent, but it's relevant. Hear me out. If you've poked around my channel before, you've probably noticed my intense love for My Little Pony and how I do live streams sometimes, coloring in My Little Pony coloring book pages with friends, following ridiculous art challenges as we do. It's a lot of fun. It's been so long since the last time I see my son.
I named it Pony Behind the Slaughter.
5 Nights at Pinkie Pie's. Because I do this, I have a little archive of official pony coloring book pages that people in the MLP fandom are free to come and download. Seriously, I've literally been sent hundreds of pages that I need to properly edit and add to that drive. Anyways, all of this is relevant because there's a G3.5 My Little Pony coloring book that in the middle of the book, for no reason at all, they stuck a whole bunch of recipes in there. One for each member of the Core 7 ponies. And I made the recipe relating to my favorite Core 7 member, Tularula, beloved childhood pony of mine. Tularula's Tasty Treat. And this recipe is kind of similar to the recipe in this book, albeit a lot simpler and cheaper. Take some Pillsbury croissant rolls, add pizza sauce and cheese, and pepperoni, but I skipped out on that at the time, and roll it up and bake it in the oven. And for that recipe, I went in very excited. It'd been over a decade since I tried Pillsbury croissant rolls. See, when I was 10, I went vegan, and I was like that for a whole last decade. And a few months ago, I decided to loosen it up, and I switched to just being mostly vegetarian, unless I could find some humanely raised meat. And honestly, I did not like the recipe very much. I think it had good ideas and good ingredients, and that any other person would have liked it, but I guess I just didn't really like the way the croissant rolls tasted. These Freddy's Garlicky Twirls reminded me of that, but they actually tasted a lot better, considering it was normal bread dough instead of croissant rolls, and it had added garlic and spices. I don't think I like them as much as I thought I would, and maybe that's because I think I should have rolled the dough a little skinnier. It wasn't undercooked, but the dough in the middle of the rolls was noticeably softer than the dough on the outer edges, and that gave me a texture issue. It would probably taste better to anyone else who isn't me. The dipping sauce you make with it is pretty good, but also very oily. I don't think the added oil incorporated into the sauce very well. Maybe it would have worked better if my base pizza sauce wasn't so soupy and was more thick and textured with that added tomato chunk residue. Fazbear's dunking cinnamon sticks with chocolate sauce. These things are stupidly fucking good. Using the base dough mix, we make fun twirly breadsticks baked with butter and cinnamon and sugar coated all over them, and then cook a hot, milky, creamy chocolate sauce to dip them in. It's fucking great, I can't even lie. I've made these a couple of times now because I love the way they taste. Every time my family has misunderstood when I told them, please give me chocolate at the store, and they've always gotten me melting baker's chocolate instead of chocolate bars, but even so, the chocolate sauce still turned out pretty fucking great. When I was little, I would cook tortillas on the stovetop and spread butter and sugar and cinnamon inside, kind of like a quesadilla but with sugar instead of cheese. And this reminded me of doing that in my childhood, only better because there's more of a bready substance with this instead of a flat tortilla. And also chocolate, 10 out of 10! Okay, so obviously because of the whole mostly vegetarian thing, I haven't really been able to try many of the meat recipes. I actually wouldn't mind eating meat. My whole issue is more so with the horrible meat industry and the awful conditions they keep the animals in. More often than not, those shitty conditions can make the animals sick, and that in turn can make people sick if you're eating cheap, shitty meat that hasn't been raised in good conditions. I would eat meat if it was raised humanely and well, like if it came from a small local farm, or if I could guarantee the company treats their animals well. Unfortunately, I'm a broke-ass bitch who shops exclusively at Walmart. I could go to those expensive organic health nut stores and find some better options, but I haven't really had the time to do that. However, that hasn't meant that I haven't been completely out of luck to make those recipes, as I have the wonderful power of vegan meat alternatives. Us skilled vegans and vegetarians know which brands taste good. Sometimes fake meat tastes ick, but if the company does it right, you won't know you're tasting a difference at all. Now, most people think of the Impossible brand when they think of fake beef, but I don't actually like that one. It has a weird aftertaste, and my food sensory issues don't like that. But Beyond Beef is where it's at, with a great beef substitute that pretty much tastes exactly the same as normal beef. Bonnie's Burgerlicious Burger Mix. Kind of like the pizza dough base, this is a meat base that can be used for many different recipes, not just the burgers. Mix your beef, or in my case fake beef, with onions, spices, sauce, and egg yolk to get a tastier tasting beef. Now this tasted pretty good, I made burgers with it, but I had some issues making it the first time that were entirely my fault. I don't have like a kitchen scale or anything, so when I read 1 pound beef, I said, oh, I don't know how much that is, but like 2 of the Beyond Beef packets should work, right? Turns out I was wrong. Very fucking wrong. If I had been able to use my brain and do math and see how many ounces are in a pound, I would have realized that a single beef pack contains a pound. So basically, I was using twice as much meat than was actually needed. Oops. That led to everything going fucking wrong. The egg yolk in this recipe is meant to be a binding agent to hold it all together, but because there was too much meat and therefore not enough egg, the patty sort of crumpled apart in the pan as I was cooking and it became a chunky, meaty mess. And because there was so much meat in one patty, I wasn't able to cook it as properly as I wanted. It was all mushy because it wouldn't stay together for long enough for me to cook it into a stable patty. Live and learn. Measure your fucking ingredients and make sure all the proportions are correct. Monty Gator's Green with Envy. A healthy smoothie that's inspired by the green goopy Monty Mystery Mix. I love the game tie-in. This has spinach, kale, apples, and apple juice, banana, other good stuff. The only thing is that when I made this, I thought I had grabbed all the ingredients, but I forgot the mint, so I had mine mintless. I know Minty would be so disappointed in me. It was still pretty good. Maybe a little goopy after letting it rest a while, and the apple juice kind of separated from the other ingredients, but you could just mix it back in and it's fine. And goopy, honestly, is probably more accurate to how I imagine Monty's mystery mix in the games. Would definitely recommend, especially if you like spinach and kale smoothies. Probably not my favorite drink, but it was decent. Superstar Daycare Strawberry Shake. This was really fucking good. Who doesn't love a good milkshake? I actually thought I would like it less because I don't like strawberry ice cream, but blending creamy vanilla ice cream with strawberries and milk tasted better to me for some reason. Also, it was my first time trying whipped cream since I was a kid, and I always hated it back then, but I think it's pretty okay now. I loved picking up the sprinkles that both looked like the ones in the picture, but also these cute star ones that I thought would fit the daycare attendant theme. If you like ice cream, you'll love this. Foxy's Fruity Cove Cooler. Not gonna lie, this one was a fucking disaster. This drink has always been funny to me, because in the games it's clearly an alcoholic drink for the adults. A cooler is typically a fruity drink with wine. So naturally, I said to myself, I want to make this drink for my 21st birthday, because I live in the US and that's the legal age of drinking here. Now, of course, the recipe in the book isn't alcoholic. They don't want to teach kids who are big consumers of FNAF products how to make themselves an actual alcoholic drink, I get it. So I just improvised and we got some alcohol to add in after we made everything.
Oh god, that's shit. You people drink this?
The drink sounds like it'll be great. Pineapple, passion fruits, lime, coconut water, all yummy stuff to make a fruity tropical drink. However, my birthday is in January, winter, and I live in the middle of a desert next to a mountain, in a place that absolutely does not sell passion fruit. It not being the correct time of year or location made that ingredient really difficult to locate, so I googled passion fruit substitutes and I went with the next best thing that was available to me, mangoes. Now, where I really fucked up was the amount of pineapple. The ingredients say 1 small pineapple. But I guess I didn't really know how much that was, especially since it wasn't pineapple season either, and all they sell is these little plastic containers full of pre-cut pineapple. That'll work, I said, and then foolishly added the entire thing into the blender without considering how much I was adding and how much pineapple chunks would realistically be inside of a small pineapple. What I'm saying is I added way too much pineapple, and so after I blended the ingredients together, it was an overly pulpy, messy sludge. So that was a disaster, but I had to finish what I started. So I added some alcohol. Newsflash, I don't have any knowledge about alcohol. I have little interest in this stuff, it's not really my thing. I only wanted to add it to make the funny FNAF drink. My mom visited the liquor store and got me 2 options of passion fruit margarita concoction, which I probably should have used to add the fruit flavor, but I stayed away from it because I wanted to be a cookbook purist, even though I already fucked up the recipe to such an extreme extent. So I went with the other option, gin. I think that's what people add to coolers, but I also think it's a really strong alcohol, and I have a ridiculously small body. I am under 5 foot, and I know the smaller you are, the more careful you have to be with the stuff, so I only added like a tiny bit to my cup. Honest to God, I don't think it affected me at all because I wasn't adding enough to each cup I drank. So there I sat in silence and began to drink my slushy, pulpy-ass pineapple mush. And it was a really sombering, disappointing moment where all of my previous mistakes had compounded upon each other and resulted in the most miserable little excuse for a drink that I have ever tried. Granted, I basically fucked up this whole drink by not having one of the right ingredients, adding way too much pineapple. Hell, in a desperate attempt to make it less pulpy and more watery, I added Hawaiian fruit punch to it. That did not work at all. The pulp sunk down in the bottom of the cup and it wouldn't mix with any of the liquid. Maybe I should have tried straining it? But I'm sure if you make this drink properly the way the book says to, it's absolutely fine. I'm just a fucking disaster. In stark contrast to that horrible mess, Monty's mouth-watering melon meltdown is my favorite drink in the entire book. It is stupidly fucking good and delicious, easy to make, and less difficult to fuck up. A watermelon drink with soda water, mint, lime, honey, and you add this really tasty grenadine stuff into it, which is super sweet and delicious. I served this at a little family party at my house and it was a hit. Everyone liked it. Except my mom, who said it needed alcohol, but I think it's pretty stinking good without it. I really want to make this one again soon because it was fucking awesome. And that, my friends, is all of the FNAF cookbook meals that I've tried. At least before making this video. Since I'm dedicating an entire video to the subject, I figured we should try some more of these meals together, right here, right now. Also, apologies in advance for this footage because my hair needs cut really badly and we filmed it on a potato.
I should probably do the like introduction thing.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
I'm here in the kitchen. I'm like a fucking news reporter. Here in the kitchen, Buggy's my beautiful cameraman. Say hello, Buggy.
Hello.
You probably know Buggy because he does some of the thumbnails of my videos.
Yeah.
Speaking of, do you want to do the thumbnail for this video?
Sure, you're in the darkness because you're right by the light.
My vision is this. Sparkel, he has like a giant chef's hat French mustache.
French
Cookbook
mustache.
in one hand. He's like stirring up a mess with the other one.
He needs the French mustache. That's a requirement.
Ratatouille on his head.
Ratatouille. I don't think I can do
No,
that.
I'm joking about that last part. I'm very serious about the French mustache.
The dish we were making required us to make some more of the Bonnie-licious burger mix, which required chopping up some onions, softening them in the pan, and then adding them and the rest of the ingredients to the bowl. With the correct proportions of everything this time.
Horrible sound.
That's what good.
Shut up.
Making sure to continuously wash our hands throughout the entire cooking process, or else. The meal we'll be cooking today is El Chip's fully loaded tortillas. First, we chop up and then mix together the ingredients for the pico de gallo and then stick it into the fridge until it's needed. Saute some more onion and garlic and then add your beef. This is going to cook for a while until it browns up really crispy.
Onion sock. I had an onion on my sock.
I'm sorry, I'm spilling onion everywhere.
No, believe me, I've been making an effort to not film your feet. Mine are okay because they have socks on. But if I'm looking,
film my feet?
well, I film down when Beauty shows up.
Follow my OnlyFans for
No, shut up. We're waiting for the onion.
While the meat was taking a long time to cook, we decided to work ahead by getting a tray full of the nacho chips ready. And we also started to chop up some of the toppings, such as avocado, jalapenos, scallions, and cilantro.
Senshi would be mad at me if I skipped lunch.
He would.
6. I'm sorry, Senshi.
The camera died.
Yeah, the camera died. He plugged it in. It's fine because we're still cooking meat. It was only 2 seconds. But this, see, you could tell that it's like starting to get done if I like stir it.
Yeah.
Good dog.
Once the meat has crisped up sufficiently, we add taco seasoning, black beans, and a tablespoon of water, then continue to cook for another minute or so.
Oh wow.
That's gonna be good.
This is actually awesome. I was like, oh, it's probably just gonna be average fine, but oh my god. This was the greatest idea I've ever had. It's not my idea. But I went, oh my god. Oh, I forgot to preheat the oven!
Oh no!
Wait, it doesn't tell me to preheat the oven. Oh, it's the broiler. Okay.
Oh.
I was like, well, it's not gonna make me eat unmelted cheese on these fuckers. Is it?
It's gonna make you eat unmelted cheese. That's the Freddy Fazbear way.
They pop it in the microwave and type in 3 numbers, and then it By the way, we played Help 1 and 2 for like a couple hours before. Earlier in the video, I was like talking about something, and I mentioned that I hadn't played Help 1 and 2 yet, but I had just gotten the PlayStation 5 and we played it for like a couple hours. So we played the El Chip.
Yeah, I played El Chips. It was fun.
It, didn't you?
I did. It's one of my favorite ones.
You didn't like the hanging staff spot at first.
Okay, she's one of my favorites, but man, she really gets in your face, and it kind of scared me.
She's supposed to give you a big old...
No, she doesn't want to do that.
These nachos actually have 2 layers. The first layer consisting only of the meat and bean mixture. Then you add another layer of chips, and then the remaining bean and meat mixture as well as the cheese sprinkled on top, before popping the whole thing into the broiler.
Baby?
Baby. Oh, it might have gotten a little burnt.
It's fine.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it definitely got a little burnt.
We're professionals.
I don't know how well I'm sprinkling these.
It's fine, just go crazy.
Woo! Go crazy, woo! Woo!
Stop!
And And this is the part where you go ham with the toppings, adding everything that you chopped up before as well as the pico de gallo. We kind of went a little bit overboard and added a whole bunch of it, but you know what, that's fine, the more the merrier. There's a lot of fucking chips here.
It's ready. Was that the bite of 87?
So, I don't know if I was like, I don't know if I'm overdoing it on the toppings, but I think it's good that I overdid it on the toppings because the extra will fall down to the ones below.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so that is really good. I think the meat is the thing that comes out the most, but also all the spice from the pico and the jalapenos comes out at me, and I'm sorry that we added so much, but I think it's worse on this side than it is for that side. But yeah, all the flavors work great together. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and actually just eat.
Honestly, the nachos were so good that I couldn't even talk about it in the moment, I just had to devour them. The best part about it is definitely the meat and bean mixture with all the yummy spices baked into it. It's all crispy and nice and delicious, but the toppings and the pico de gallo and everything on it just complements the flavor so good. I love me cilantro, I love me pico de gallo, I love me jalapeno. All good things make good nachos. However, it's not a meal without a drink, and so I finished off the night by making the final drink in the book that I had yet to make, Soda-Roni Slushy. To our blender, we add all the ingredients, predominantly red raspberries, cranberry juice, sparkling water, lemon juice, etc.
That squeezed a lot nicer than the fucking lime did.
I'm sure your paper cuts love that. Not paper cuts, your rat scratches.
My rat scratches.
I'm sure they love lemon juice directly all over them.
Ow! Oh, fuck. That was the most satisfying lemon I've squeezed today. I haven't squeezed any other lemons today. Cranberry. Every fruit's best friend. That's true, because it's my best friend. Blend. Oh, let's pour it into our little thing.
Under the big picture.
After we blend everything together, it's an icy cold smoothie with raspberry and cranberry flavors popping out at you.
So, you've probably noticed that they pussied out on making the actual soda-roni from the games. The actual soda-roni in the games is pepperoni soda, and we didn't add any kind of meat substance of any kind.
So now I'm gonna.
I seriously considered going and buying pepperonis, but I couldn't find any like humanely raised ones. And I know Annie Vetronic already made pepperoni soda in her FNAF food
And
video.
it was not good.
And I don't, yeah, not only was it not good, but I don't want to be a copycat. But it would make sense in the context of this video if I did, just because it's soda-roni, but...
Okay, drink.
God fucking damn it. It does have like that color and texture of like pepperoni, like fake processed pepperoni. Oh, it's cold. Oh, it's raspberry.
Is it cranberry too?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not the biggest fan of cranberry, but putting that aside, this probably tastes pretty fucking good. It's very cold.
I like that a lot.
You do?
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like if you like cranberries and you like raspberries, you'll like that. Make that. I still think that the Monty melon mouthwater meltdown was the best drink.
I have something to say.
Huh.
The honey is not blended.
Putting aside the inaccuracies from the game, because to be honest, I understand why we would not want to actually make Sodaroni, this drink was pretty good. It's pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. Raspberry and cranberry and sparkling water. It has a really strong punch to it, and if you like those flavors, you'll like this. I was having some sort of sensory thing because the raspberry seeds were getting stuck in my teeth and I was just crunching down upon them and it made my skull feel weird, but I continued to do it anyways, so take that what you will. Thank you again to Buggy for helping me with that segment of the video. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. He does TF2 videos and I was in one of them if you're interested in checking it out. Or go follow him on Tumblr, he's a great guy. In conclusion, the FNAF cookbook is a little odd. It's got some kind of weird elements mixed together, and it's really strange when you consider it in terms of in-game lore, but all of that is pretty small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It's still a pretty solid cookbook. I enjoy all of the images and the pure aesthetic of how everything is presented. It fits perfectly into the Freddy's vibe and is honestly just kinda awesome, and the food itself is pretty good and generally easy to make. What can I say other than cooking is fun, and relating it to one of my biggest interests ever is even more fun. I would recommend this book if you're a FNAF fan, or just interested in trying to make any of the dishes we talked about today. Just know there are also a whole bunch of other recipes that we didn't have time to cover too. Regardless, I hope you all enjoyed going on a kitchen adventure with me today, and that your bellies are full and happy. I'll see y'all next time.